Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of AM and the PM with Amanda and Mark. Today is actually a special episode. It's our 50th episode of this podcast.
I thought you were going to say welcome to our 50th episode.
Shit. Welcome to our 50th episode. You want me to redo it? I can redo it.
No. Our 50th episode.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
50, big 5-0.
Big 5-0. Yeah, we're here. Yeah, it's been a great ride so far. We got a lot to talk about here. Specifically kind of like why we started and a couple other things too. I got an interesting question from a person I was connected with, a buddy of mine that I've started to establish like a working relationship with kind of here and there and stuff like that, just bouncing ideas off. I connect with a lot of people, right? And I get good questions once in a while. And this one was pertaining to AM and the PM actually. So that's one of the things that we'll cover. What else? Anything huge? Kind of just going to chat about the first 50 episodes of this long, this podcast is going to probably last the rest of our lives. Yeah. Cool. It's going to just go and go forever and ever. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're coming off of a couple episodes of guest couples. So that was kind of cool. And we went for a while there without it, and then we had 2 back-to-back, so that's nice. We should have some more coming up. There's a couple people on the tentative agenda. But, yeah, if you ever want to reach out, the website, aimandthepmpodcast.com. Links and everything are in the description. We'll make sure to put the schedule one in there as well, because we're always welcome to finding new friends. So just reach out, and we'd love to have you on the show. But, yeah, other than that, it's been a ride. Amanda, maybe you should.
I thought you were going to ask the question.
Oh, you want me to ask the question first?
Yeah.
We can just dive into it. Okay, cool. So the question that I received the other day was a little bit of context. This gentleman, like I said, recently connected. He was talking about some of the stuff that we had going on. He was looking over some of the things that I specifically have going on, and obviously AM and the PM is and Amanda and I is something that we are tackling together there. And he posed a question specifically about AM and the PM, and he says to me, "Hey, how have you and Amanda, why did you guys start that? And more specifically, how did you guys have I guess really the answer, the question is the confidence to start and not have something that's called imposter syndrome, is I believe the way that he put it. And if for those of you that aren't familiar with what imposter syndrome essentially is that it's when you have been doing something or like you're about to do something and you feel like you can't do it because of a reason that's basically almost made up and manufactured in your mind. So the example, when Amanda asked me to elaborate further, is she's a toddler teacher, and she's worked as a toddler teacher for a couple years now, right? At least 2, 3. And the example that I gave was, let's say like you go into work, next week, and you just feel like you're not good enough to be there. You feel like you're not like a good toddler teacher, and it's basically made up in your mind. You have experience, you have this, that, and the other thing, and that's kind of my interpretation of it. There might be a little bit a different definition, but effectively that was the question. So the question is, why did we feel that we were effectively good enough to start this, or like that how do we not have imposter syndrome? And my answer, I won't go deep into it, but my initial answer that I gave, and then I'll kick it over to Amanda to see what her thoughts are on it, was that this AM and PM was actually the least amount of imposter syndrome I've ever had. Not because I feel like Amanda and I are relationship gurus necessarily, but I do feel like our relationship has been very great for a lot of different reasons. And I just felt that was, I think we both felt that was a really good thing that we wanted to share with people. And, so we didn't really have any of that. Like we're a little nervous on the mics at first and things like that. But once you get into it and you just start talking, it's, we just didn't have much of that. And I think that one other thing is that you have a person to do it with, be different if you're just out there by yourself. A lot goes on in your mind. I know it happens to me from time to time, but that's kind of my short answer. But Amanda, when I told you that, what was your thoughts? Like, what did you kind of think about it?
Well, we always had really deep conversations that we felt like we wanted to share with the world because we were just having them together, like in the car. And they were just really good discussions. So, Mark always kind of just said, like, we should start a podcast. We should start a podcast. I think we kind of like talked about it for a long time. And then when the quarantine hit,
Yeah.
we already had a name. We came up with the name like a while back, but just like, um, I guess just with work and everything, regular life in the way, we talked about it, but it never got actually, like to the specifics of it. So then the quarantine hit and we just went at it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's a lot of things that kind of, brought it together, obviously. Good relationship, like Amanda said, having those conversations and everything like that, wanting to share them just because it's almost the right thing to do. Not necessarily the right thing to do, but something we wanted to do because when we're learning things, I think we're naturally trying to, one of our natural inclinations is to share with other people. And that's ultimately what we're kind of trying to do with this podcast at this point. And then, Amanda said the quarantine and the whole pandemic type thing, that gave us a shit ton of time, especially Amanda, because I had been on my own working. But Amanda, she didn't have anything to necessarily do. I mean, she started working out. She started doing a whole bunch of other stuff and getting active and things like that. 'Cause she couldn't go to work for a time. And then we just decided, well, what the hell, let's start it. And if we reminisce on the first 50 episodes, I'm pretty sure, I don't know, probably the first 20. No, was it 16? I can't remember. I think it was like around the teens. Maybe it was in the teens or 20 or so where we got the equipment and we started actually, doing it via video and everything. So, yeah, we've gone through a lot just in the past year. And that's another thing I was just thinking about that is, when you mentioned, the pandemic type thing, I think we're coming up on like a year of that. And this is our 50th episode, one a week. And I don't think we've missed a week. So we're basically almost at the 1 year mark. I'll have to figure out which date actually is
I
that.
think it was in April.
Oh, it was in April. Okay, so it's close. It's close.
That's weird because I feel like we just started this.
Yeah, I mean it's flown by. Albeit 2020 was a weird year, so it was there's a lot going on there. But yeah, I mean when you do something like this, I mean it just continues to. It's a fun ride, and I don't think that when you're. This is what I always think too, and I don't want to take it too far off topic, but relating it to AM and the PM, it's something that we both enjoy doing. So it hasn't felt long. It hasn't really felt tedious. It's actually, like we said, like a year of it has just kind of flown by. We've been doing other things, obviously, but it's been a good experience thus far. And I think that we're starting to, try to gain a little bit more traction, try to get it out there more. A lot of that comes with marketing and things like that, which we could have a discussion on, maybe the future plans of all that. But, at least for now, I always think of like things in the worst case scenario. The worst case is we get to sit down and we have a great conversation and we film it, for an hour or so a week. And then we obviously have other conversations and we try to get some of that stuff as well. But, I don't know. I just think it's good to, obviously communication is good in a relationship, and I'm having fun so far. So yeah.
Yeah, well, I remember when we started this, I didn't know that you also had Fueled by Progress. Like you had
know.
you had like 50 this might be an exaggeration, but you had like 50 episodes of you by yourself on Fueled by Progress, and I don't remember, like I think you were just talking about it to me one day and I was like, "Why did you never tell me that you had this podcast?" Obviously before you started having like people on it.
Yeah.
I was like, why? You were like, it's just me talking in my car. And I'm like, okay, well, I never knew you had a podcast like before we actually started our podcast. So
yeah, it was, I don't know why. I mean, I just did that, like you said, in the car, just kind of talking about it and everything. And those are still on the Fuel by Progress, the podcast list of podcasts. But that was, I remember that was kind of funny because like we wanted to get the equipment and everything like that. And we wanted to actually, make it a little more serious after a few episodes of AM and the PM, and it's just kind of taken off from there as far as doing it every week and just continuing with it. But I don't know, podcasting's fun. I mean, I just enjoyed talking, so it's kind of good. I think that with AM and the PM and the brand and everything that we're kind of doing, I think that there's a lot of room to continue to grow. And I don't know if you want to talk about that, we can. But what else? You have anything else like as far as like what we've gone through to this point, like some of your, I don't know, maybe milestones, favorite memories, stuff like that.
I mean, well, there was a period of time, like when I went back to work and stuff, and we were recording, obviously, that I wasn't sure about it.
Oh,
like,
yes. This is a good
Yeah, like
thing.
if I wanted to continue it, like I did want to continue it, and like it's just like, so obviously I just feel like the way you talk about it is so like simple, and it's just like, yeah, you just sit down, you have a good conversation, you record for an hour, it's just great. And it is, okay, it is. But it's also, I mean, obviously Mark does all the editing and everything, so it's not like I do
all the work, yeah.
Mark does,
all the work. I think I know where you're going with this. Yeah, keep going.
Okay. Obviously Mark does like all the work for it and everything. But like there are days where you have to record in order for it to come out the following week, and like you don't know what to talk about. You just have no clue. Like there's been times where we sat here and just like didn't even talk because we didn't know what to talk about. Or
really though? Like how many times did that actually happen? We had a couple interesting ones. A couple ones where like we tried that at least that one time where we tried and then like we had to do something else. But I don't know. I just don't really feel like I don't feel the same way about that. And I thought where you were going to say is like you always pick the topics, which you generally do to this point. But I mean at the same time, like, I just feel that it's a little different. I feel that at the end of the day, it's our podcast. We could talk about whatever the hell we want. And if we really had to pick a topic, like we could talk about anything because we always talk about everything, right? Like even in the car, like we could just try to manufacture like a car conversation right on a podcast. And that's kind of what we do. So I understand though, like maybe some days you don't feel like recording. I guess I could understand that. And we don't have much time to record, like available spots. So that's understandable. But I don't know. I just do think it's kind of simple. I mean, set up the shit, just talk, But is that you don't share that opinion?
No, I'm not done. I'm just saying
sorry.
There was a period of time where I struggled with, I guess like I went from being on quarantine to like having all the time in the world to going back to work, and
yeah, that fucked with you a little bit, I think.
It still fucks with me.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah, we should talk a little bit about it. Not like, I don't know. We can make a whole episode on that, but keep going.
I mean, we could talk about it.
Yeah.
I think it's...
We could talk about whatever the fuck we want. It's our podcast.
Yeah, unless Mark says I'm getting too off...
I haven't said that in a while.
Mark says I'm getting too off topic, then it's not okay.
You can go as far off topic as you want, as long as you pick a good pick a title that somehow encapsulates all this.
Okay. Anyways, you know what? I have been listening to multiple podcasts, okay, recently,
yeah.
Mark.
Yeah.
And half of the titles are only like a snippet of the actual episode. I'm just saying.
No, yeah, for sure.
I mean, I think it is important to put what it's about on the title, but
we could have a pretty deep conversation about that, and we should, because it should be recorded. It should be documented. And maybe we should get to that. What were we just going to talk about, though?
Okay.
You want to talk about that first? Maybe we should talk about that first.
What I was saying is there was a period of time where from quarantine, I went back to work, and like, I was trying to continue my fitness journey, and then obviously we would record, and I think some days it was just hard because it was like, now I think I'm more, I'm like really into it, obviously, and I think we like established a good relationship. Like podcasting relationship, I guess. I don't know.
A relationship with the podcast, or like our relationship as podcasters.
As business partners?
Yeah, that's always evolving.
And I think, I don't even remember where I was going. Oh my god. I think like I would like want to come over and just like hang out, but then it would be like, oh, we have to record, and it's like, what are we going to talk about? And then I don't know, I think at the beginning, or sometimes it was just hard to think of a topic to talk about. And it was just kind of like sometimes it was almost like a hassle. Like, oh, we have to record, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. But I have kind of got out of that state somehow because I feel like just with anything else, sometimes it's not always super easy, but you just have to keep going. And I just feel like we've really continued to succeed and grow, and I've learned a lot. And yeah, I'm just saying sometimes it's hard, I guess. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think that anything's ever easy all the time. I think that there's definitely days that are harder than others no matter what you do. But
I was just saying it's not always like all sunshines and rainbows, I guess, obviously. Which I feel like that's with everything.
I want to have a conversation. I want to have a conversation about this.
Okay.
I don't think that fundamentally you see the things the same way that I do.
Yeah, I know.
And I'm not just talking about AM and the PM specifically, but let's use AM and the PM as an example. Do you realize the way that I see all these projects? I mean, I don't have a job. I work at the restaurant, but I don't have like a 9 to 5, all the time job because I made the decision to move away from that. But the way that I see these and the way that this is going to affect like our life moving forward is it's going to give us more opportunity to do whatever the hell we want. Because as you continue to build these things up, like these aren't hobbies. Like we're treating these as businesses, right? And specifically AM and the PM LLC. That's a thing. It makes money. It has expenses, right? So as we continue to move forward in that manner, though, I'm trying to elaborate, but I'm not doing a great job. I understand what you're saying, but at the same time, I don't think I see it differently. I see it as I really enjoy doing this because I know that it holds the keys to freedom, in a sense. Like, and it's hard for me to talk to you about this necessarily because you're obviously still in I've thought about this a lot recently. It's like I work all day, but I'm loving basically every second of it. Some of it sucks. I mean, some of it's not the greatest because I'm tired and I'm doing a lot of different shit. But I genuinely enjoy like basically all my day, right? But then like we'll hang out and it's like, well, you like your job, but it's not your thing, right? Like it's a great gig for you, but it's not like something that I feel like each one of these things are like a little baby that I hold in my arms. Like as you would feel like a little baby that you hold in your arms. Like you just love that thing. And I love Fueled by Progress and I love AM and the PM and I love Szymanski Media. I love Find a Tech, right? All in different ways and they do different things and all that sort of shit. Is a weird example and an analogy here. But what I'm saying is that I think there's still a severe mental conflict or mental difference between you and I because we don't think of them in the same manner. I feel like if you thought of this in the same manner and you saw and you actually realized what could happen moving forward, you would love the time spent like all the time. I know that it's changed and you've liked it a lot more now, but I don't know if that made any sense, but
well, I was just saying like that's what I went through. Like I think for a period of time I was just like, do I want to do this every week? Is this something I want to continue to do? Like, do I want to keep doing this?
Yeah. Right. But
I think it's
normal.
I think it's
what was
normal
the problem though? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what was this? Okay, like if you thought about it and you tried to like say like 100% like it, 0% don't like it at all. Like, it was less than 100. So what parts of it you didn't like? Like, here's what I'm saying is that let's just be like matter of fact here. You pretty much only had to pick a topic and sit there for 45 minutes and talk about it. You didn't do any of the other stuff. I'm not criticizing you. I didn't ask you to do any of the stuff, and you had all this other shit. But what I'm saying is, like of the process, I'm actually putting a lot of blame on myself because I don't think I've shown you enough or explained it to you. Even though you hear me talk about it all the time, I don't think I've done a good enough job at explaining exactly how powerful what we're trying to do here is. Not just with AM and the PM, but like the whole thing, because I just see it as such like it is literally a path to freedom. I mean, I'm already basically free, but like, are we too deep? Did this not make any sense? Are we off on a? Do we need to come back to reality? I don't know what we're doing. I don't know. I don't know. I might be off on my soapbox here or something. But I'm just trying to like understand, because
Well, I
again,
think
what parts of it didn't you like? You just didn't like sitting here occasionally or something?
it was just like you have to find something. I think we had some like tough conversations too. Like I think there were times where I didn't know what to talk about, or we like started to talk and then I would just like cry, and it was just like
That was 1 or 2 times, I think.
dramatic like things.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
I mean it's a commitment.
this is a fucking really important topic.
It's like a commitment. Like if you want to continue to do this.
Yeah, definitely. I think we're similar in some ways, but again, I think this is just one of those things where I have a difficult time explaining it, or at least explaining myself, and not necessarily trying to tell you what to think, but just like getting you to understand things. It's a commitment, but I don't think it's as simple as that. Like, okay, let me go at this a different angle. So back in the day, right? Like, let's say 4 months ago or whenever you were kind of like in this spot, right? Whenever it was more than 4 months, whenever this time period happened, right? You would go to work 40 hours a week, tiring, commuting back and forth. It was probably getting into the winter at that time or whatever. Like, where maybe it wasn't. I don't remember. Summer. I don't remember what time it exactly was. But regardless, like there's a lot of work that goes into that. Having a job in general, I feel kind of sucks because there's just a lot of it you can't control and you just have to do it, right? So you're doing that during the week and you're getting tired and you come home and you have to do your workout or whatever. You got to eat and then you basically do it all over again. That's the rat race. I hate it. It's for some people, not for some others, whatever. But here's what I'm trying to say is that I'm trying to bring it back. So then on Saturday and Sunday, maybe we hang out one day or we hang out during the week as well, like a little bit time here and there. And then we get to, normally I think it was Sundays that we're recording, and you would come over and you said, well, I kind of just want to hang out. I don't want to record, or like you don't feel like you want to record, but you have to, right? So like the have to thing, I guess, kind of fucked you up there. But what I'm saying is that I fundamentally don't see it the same way. I mean, like sometimes I don't necessarily want to come out here and record, and I'm like a little like I gotta set up this shit or whatever. But like the actual conversation and the actual content and that part of the whole thing, I see as a totally different piece of it, because it's literally the keys to like maybe one day not having to go to a job, or one day having enough financial freedom or for like I could feel where on a random Tuesday we could just like get up and we could just go. We don't live near a beach, but we could just go to a beach or something. You know what I'm saying? So the topic is broader because I believe that there are pieces of this that you haven't articulated that may be contributing. Like you wouldn't, like I don't think that you would feel, well, there's a lot of things. We don't live together, all that sort of stuff. But if you didn't like work 40 hours a week and get tired and drained and shit, then on Sunday you'd be like, let's do something.
Yeah.
Like let's do something.
Well,
like let's record. Let's like you'd be jumping at it. You wouldn't just be like, oh, let's hang out and chill. There's nothing wrong with that. You understand what I'm saying? It's just two different like worldviews almost, or like two different scenarios. That is why I have literally changed 100% basically as a person over the last year, because I can just go and go and go now as long as I have enough sleep. But like I can just go and go and go because every single moment of my life is almost for me. Not every single moment because I still got to work at the fucking restaurant. But you get the idea. Like all of that time is just I'm working. Like yesterday, I turned down an Outback invitation to work because I feel like I need to kind of, but I enjoy it. So that was a long way to basically kind of just get my perspective on that. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying that like right now I think we see it differently, and I think one day it's gonna be like, oh fuck, like that's the reason. I don't know if any of that makes sense.
well, I do enjoy it. It's not that I don't enjoy it.
Yeah, but there's a thing. I think there's a thing about life where you can only enjoy the I don't. There's probably a better way to say it, but like let's say like you can only enjoy this part of your life or this part of your week or something like that if the other part of your week or the like you can only enjoy this 10% part of your week if the other part of your week did not drain the fuck out of you or didn't put you in a place. You understand what I'm saying? Like you could go through, if you think about this, you could go through the same day twice, and depending on how you feel going into that day, you could probably feel differently about it. Does that make sense? Do you think that's realistic?
Isn't that from the movie?
About time?
Yeah, that happened in the movie.
Yeah.
Well, another thing is I was quarantining for 2 weeks and I was like super, super productive, like doing stuff every day. We were working on my website.
Yeah, that was great.
I was going and I went back to work and it's just like.
I'll tell you what, those times are extremely, I love those times. And I think that those are probably my favorite times, but they also give me so much, I'm already hopeful about the future, but they give me a fuck ton of hope because I know that you and basically everybody else, I don't ever want to sound like entrepreneurship is the only way, but like just doing something for yourself, like things that you enjoy doing, that is the fucking key because everyone has it in them. They just don't understand that they have it in them because they'll go to work or whatever, or they'll do something they don't like to do. And then they'll be like, oh, well, now I have the time, like the end of the day or something like that to do something that I want to do, but I don't want to do anything because I'm drained as fuck. I just want to go to sleep.
Yeah, like a lot of people are like, how do you work out after work? And it's just like, well, if you don't if you don't work out after work, you're never going to fucking work out.
Right.
So what are you going to do?
But it's not easy every time, right? Like there's some days where you don't necessarily want to go work out and you procrastinate or whatever and you end up getting down there. But like you do it because you do enjoy it. Mm-hmm. And again, it's the same thing with the podcast. Again, there's no criticism. I'm just trying to explain to you and potentially somebody else out there, you know, that when you pull that trigger in a sense, and I'm not telling you to quit your job. I don't want to but I'm saying when you get to the point where it's like you have the time or you have the energy, and that's again what like quarantine for a lot of us like allowed us to do. It gave us the time. It gave us like a time where it's like, well, we don't have anything to do. So if you were smart, you're like, well, what do I want to do? Not just fuck around and wait for that time to be over, but like, what do I want to do? Mm-hmm. So we started the podcast, and you started Amanda's Inspiration, which we need to like probably formally announce at some point because we're going to continue to work on that sort of stuff, right? Like you started these things and we started these things and if you were smart, it gave you an opportunity.
Yeah, I think it's really easy to get lost in it when you go to work and come home.
That's why it's called the rat race. Because you're a rat on a wheel.
It's like yeah.
Yeah, you feel like you're working really hard and you don't really get anywhere. You just rent your time.
It's like you accomplish stuff, but that's at work. That's in a whole other realm that is like not even really considered your own life. Okay, well, it is my own.
Yeah, we're not shitting on jobs.
It is my own life, and I love my job, but just ever since the quarantine and really being able to make my own schedule and do what I want to do, I just completely understand like why Mark is doing what he's doing. And it's a lot more fulfilling, especially with like you work like 40 people work like 40 to 50 hours a week. Like that's like your whole entire life. There's like people live for the weekends. Like there's like barely any time. I mean, there's time when you go home and then there's the weekends and that's it. The rest of the time you are working.
I hate that. It's very simple.
Like you're working your whole life.
There's 24 hours in a day. Most of us try to get 8 hours of sleep, right? There's sleep, work, and there's play for most people. So 8, 8, and 8 makes 24. So you're sleeping for 8 of it, right? You need to have sleep. Everybody, I think, enjoys it. So then you have 16 left. 8 of it's going to be spent at work generally, and then the other 8 is going to be play. But you got to cut into that play time or the free time or whatever because you got to eat some food. You have to commute to and from work. You have to do.
I would say when I get home, I have like roughly like 5 hours.
That's exactly
what
I mean.
No, like less than that.
That's exactly what I mean.
It's only like, yeah, by the time you get home, you eat dinner. I mean,
And you got to do your things that you have to do.
I like to go to bed by 9 or 10.
That you have to do, like work out or whatever, right? Which is a good thing, and it's like part of free time, but it's also something, again, that you kind of made yourself obligated to do. So it's not something that's like discretionary, and everybody loves discretionary activity, like scrolling through TikTok or whatever. Yeah. But like those are honestly like that is such a when you get to that point, it's like you're just passing the time. It's like mindless behavior because you're just at that point, you're kind of like either zoned out a little bit, zonked, and it's a fucking rat race. I'm not trying to, again, pitch entrepreneurship, but I am trying to pitch like self-awareness and trying to like realize.
Then imagine if you have kids. You go home, you eat dinner, and you have to like take care of your kids.
I've said it before.
And how do you exercise?
I've said it before, and I'll say it again.
You put the kids to sleep.
I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I am falling in love with the life that we're building here, and I know that the upside of this is extremely, extremely, extremely fucking huge. Because when you can just try to take control of your life from a young age, I think that you're way ahead of the game. And now that whole conversation was a big derivative of just like a simple thing of what you brought up, like, not wanting to necessarily do this. A little bit, having reservations, thoughts and stuff like that throughout it, which is, again, normal, I think, with most things. But when you really step back and you think about the bigger picture, it's like, not shitting on jobs, but would I rather be my job or would I rather be trying to build up like something and no matter what it is, it could be a podcast, it could be a business, it could be, service, whatever. It's like that is the whole reason. Me going to work and then coming home and working on the things that I was working on was like the whole reason that I even had the opportunity. What a big reason that I got the opportunity to get to where I'm at now. And again, road's never over until you're dead, So I mean, like, we got a lot more work to do. But I don't know. I've just fallen in love with doing the things that I love, the things that I enjoy the past year, and I would highly recommend that to other people. And yeah, it's gonna be difficult at times, but it's definitely worth it. So long-winded answer to all that, but thoughts on that? Final thoughts on that one?
Yeah. But do you remember I think we recorded the first episode in your room. It was weird. Yeah.
Maybe.
On your bed. It was like one.
Yeah, we'll have to go back.
It was like 1 a.m. We were just talking on the on your bed, just sitting there.
Yeah.
Just talking.
Yeah, we did a couple upstairs in the studio here.
Yeah, one in your car.
Yeah, that wasn't a good one. Acoustics was weird.
But you don't necessarily need the equipment to start a podcast.
Yeah, that's another thing too. Podcasting is kind of saturated right now. Everybody and their mother has one, but if you're serious about it and you don't just want to, if you just want to have it as a hobby, do it. I'm not telling you to turn everything into a business, but if you actually want to turn it into a business, don't let the idea of it being saturated stop you from doing that, because that's a fucking excuse. Like, if you make good content, if you try to film it, if you put it out the right way, you just get it out there, and then especially, this is a good segue into like the things we wanted to talk about with like us specifically. If you market it well, it's going to get out there to more people, which is something we've been lacking in, because I just basically do everything, and I do too many things because I have more than just AM and the PM going on. But it's kind of where we're at right now. We could talk more about kind of the future plans. Not really even the future plans, but just kind of like brainstorm a couple things and talk about like where I think some of this is headed, because I'm excited about a little bit of a following, or like the people that at least know about the thing. Maybe not don't listen or watch everyone, which is understandable. But like just like the brand awareness and trying to get more people like involved with it, just because I want to see it to continue to grow. Obviously, I think we both do, and we've had fun. So, the biggest thing, and this is where I wanted to hit on there, and we're gonna brainstorm here. If you guys have more, ideas for us and stuff like that, things you want to see, please, always let us know. But the thing that we definitely need to do more of is just try to get it out to more people, right? And the problem right now is that, yeah, like the episodes themselves are good content, But this is a really fucked up thing that I see myself have a lot of time. It's like when you know that the content that you're providing, like you're providing a lot of valuable like information or valuable content, but it's just getting it out to people or getting it in front of people. That's a big hard part. That's a big part of it, and it's quite difficult sometimes. And there's a lot of ways that we could do that, and I have not implemented them because I have other priorities that have just, I guess, been greater. But we need to start thinking about how we're going to do that, because we just need to get if these are 30 minutes to an hour, we need to have clips. We need to have little things here and there. We need to do a little bit more, maybe on the social media, just like get people engaged. Show us in the apparel a little bit more, like the merchandise, stuff like that. We've done that to a certain degree, but it's all about consistency, because not everybody's going to see like the one fucking post or story that you put up and stuff like that. But the beautiful thing about this, when you look at it a different perspective, is there's absolutely, if you really think about it, if you showed AM and the PM to 7 billion people, like everybody in the world, like there is, even if 1% like gave a shred of a shit, that's a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? So when you look at it like that, the people are out there. You just got to find them, So I don't know. It's just a random thing, but like moving forward, yeah, that's at least one big thing we have to do. I don't know, Amanda, what do you think about like where we sit now moving forward? What are the things that you're seeing? What are things you want to do? I mean, we've talked about this a little bit, obviously, but I'm probably more into it than you because I just think about it more often.
Well, I want to do a photo shoot of us with like all the merch, so people can see it, know about it, and stuff like that more.
Yeah, we should do that. We don't have all the merch, obviously, but we could do the stuff that we do have, the products that we do have. I think that would be good. I think it's always adding a little bit more personalization to that. And again, yeah, just marketing and things. The clips, though, are the big thing, because everybody loves watching like short little shit now, and they watch the short stuff, and then maybe they'll head over to the actual, full podcast and stuff like that, or just appreciate the content a little bit more. But it's just consistency and continuing to do it. So got to establish some sort of something. I don't know. It takes time. Again, though, more guest episodes. I think that'd be cool. We've had some pretty good perspectives on, and if anybody wants to come on, even like not necessarily a guest, not necessarily like a couple too, but like we've thought about that before. We're not really relationship counselors, but even like people that have keen insights on relationship topics and stuff like that, just life general topic, relationship. I think that would be kind of cool to have a discussion about that. But yeah, we're growing, we're moving forward. I'm excited. Yeah. What else you got?
Yeah, I'm just excited for how far we've come.
Yeah. It's definitely cool to turn around and, see the progress, see the trail that you blazed, and I think we only have like 20 subscribers on YouTube, but I mean, we have a decent amount of people that watch the stuff. We got people that listen on the podcast too. So there's definitely people out there. So we appreciate each and every one of you. But it just takes time, and you can't get caught up in that sort of shit, because if you get caught up in that, then you're just gonna be looking at the numbers rather than trying to make the stuff better, or get it out to more people and things like that. Because everything takes time. I'm learning that so quickly, that everything takes time and just takes a lot of effort or money, depending on if you're doing it or other people are doing it. So we're gonna experiment, I guess, with some things in 2021 here. Along with the other projects that we have going on, Fueled by Progress and such, I think we can learn some things from there. But I'm excited because I know this is a path to freedom. I mean, again, I'm already kind of on it, but especially with Amanda as well, because I absolutely refuse to be on that hamster wheel for my entire life. Fuck that. So yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't even really know what a podcast was when Mark wanted to do a podcast. I don't even remember.
And now you're a fucking official podcaster.
Yeah.
You have a microphone, headphone, and all sorts of shit.
Yeah. I think he just said Joe Rogan, and I knew Joe Rogan's podcast. I don't think I actually knew.
Oh, the Fear Factor guy.
I don't think I actually knew. I was just like, oh, the the guy, Fear Factor guy. Meanwhile, he's like has a podcast for like I don't know, a long
For
time
like
now.
10 years, over 10 years.
Apparently 10 years.
Mm.
He was the Fear Factor host. That's how I know him. I did actually watch his episode with Miley Cyrus. It was like 2 hours, and I like watched / listened to the whole entire thing. But I've been listening to a lot of podcasts recently, and I really enjoy it. So I hope you enjoy us.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well, it's been a good ride so far. 50 episodes in the books. Looking forward to the next 50 and beyond. There's going to be a lot of stuff. I think we probably touched on this like in the New Year's one or some shit, but like there's going to be a lot of changes hopefully this year. Hopefully we'll have a new studio space. We'll have, more guests, topics, things like that, more clips, more engagement and all that. But again, it's a climb and we're happy about it.
Okay, Miley Cyrus.
Yeah. It's the climb. You can't sing too much of that. Might get a copyright strike. Actually, don't know about that. And yeah, we don't have ads yet, so I don't think it matters. But anyway, yeah. So working on it, excited about it, and yeah, keep going. What do you say?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Well, this has been a good 50th episode. Once again, guys, thank you so much. We really appreciate all the love, the support, the engagement, stuff like that. We got links down below. Again, if you want to be a guest, there's ways to schedule that with us. Shoot us a message. We'll have, like I said, links and everything. AimInThePMPodcast.com/shop. Some nifty merch there. We're going to have new pictures and everything like that within the coming months. And you can always ask us anything. AimInThePMPodcast.com/ the link down there. Ask us anything. Yeah, a lot more shit. Just a lot more stuff coming. So we greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much. And this has been another episode, our 50th episode of AM and the PM with Amanda and Mark. We thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we'll talk to you in the next one.